Welcome to Recap Master. This time we are going to recap a movie called The Menu. In the beginning scene, we see Margot and Tyler waiting on a dock for a boat to take them to an island. Tyler tells Margot not to smoke a cigarette because it will ruin her palate. We see some of the other guests, including Lillian Bloom, a food critic. She's accompanied by her husband, Ted. There are also three rowdy tech brothers who boast about their knowledge of hedge funds and cryptocurrency. They board the boat, and the captain greets them, informing them that the trip to Hawthorne will take 30 minutes. A movie star boards the boat, complaining that his assistant, Felicity, has booked an extravagant dinner for him. To begin the journey, everyone is given a small bite and champagne. When the boat arrives on the island, servers and house staff greet everyone on the deck. Elsa, the restaurant captain, looks at Margot suspiciously as they check in. She informs Tyler that she is not the person he signed up to attend with, and he informs her that he has broken up with his girlfriend and is bringing Margot instead. This makes Elsa nervous. Tyler inquires about a hillside cottage as they walk across the lawn to the restaurant. Elsa claims it is where the chef lives, but even the staff is not permitted to enter. They all enter the restaurant through the door, which is a large square in the wall that opens outwardly. A sad old woman is drinking at a table in the back. Chef Slowick, Rafe Fiennes, enters the kitchen. He's reflective and intense. He tastes and approves the dish that is about to be served. The servers then begin to serve the amuse-bouche, which is described in a title card, as if it were a menu. Tyler takes a photo, which Margot points out is against the rules. They both try the food, and Tyler devours it, but Margot is less impressed. Chef Slowick introduces himself and informs the group that they will ingest fat, salt, sugar, protein, bacteria, fungi, various plants, and animals, entire ecosystems, at a brisk but reasonable pace over the next few hours. He requests that they do him a favor and refrain from eating. The first course, the island, is assigned to the group. The plate is made up of various plants from the island that has been placed on rocks from the beach and are covered in barely frozen seawater. Tyler notices that these are the same clams that the guy was fishing for earlier and becomes concerned when Chef hears him. Tyler begins to cry, moved by the dish's beauty. Margot is dismissive and refuses to consume any of it. She is skeptical of the entire establishment. The rest of the room enjoys it as well, with food critic Lillian Bloom praising it, saying, her husband concurs that they are consuming the ocean. The actor requires advice from his assistant on how to approach the meal. The three tech brothers simply talk loudly about technology before criticizing the plate. The guy says, I've had better shellfish at Kashiba. Elsa is disgusted by everything. Chef looks at Margot. Tyler notices Chef's gaze and wonders if he is staring at him. Margot turns and looks at him, making eye contact. The chef shouts that they're plating in 5 and the entire kitchen shouts back yes. Following that, everyone receives bread service. The chef gives a speech about how bread has been around for 12,000 years and is usually associated with the poor. He then talks about how the people in the group are not ordinary people, so they don't get bread tonight. Instead, everyone is served shale plates with only condiments. The title reads Breadless Bread Plate. This has offended everyone. Tyler takes another picture of the food. Margot has no idea why he's so into it. He describes how much he enjoys food and considers it an art form. Elsa is summoned by the tech brothers. They complain that they understand everything conceptually, but they want bread because Hawthorne is super famous for it. The tech brothers insist she brings them bread, but she refuses, and they are offended. Elsa whispers to one, you will eat less than you desire and more than you deserve. The chef approaches Margot and inquires as to why she isn't eating. She says that she doesn't want to fill up too soon. Chef responds that would not be possible because I've carefully planned the portions to account for this. But Margot responds, thank you, but I'll eat what I want when I want. We see the old woman again, this time with no food on her table and only a glass of wine. The chef claps, and they are informed that the next course, memory, will be served. He shares a childhood memory with the group and points to the elderly woman, indicating that she is his mother. She used to be quite drunk when he came home from school, and when he arrived at 7 years old, his father was even a drunkard. His parents fought, and his father strangled his mother with a telephone cord. To get him to stop, the chef stabbed him in the thigh with kitchen scissors as a child. He never spoke to him again and regretted not stabbing him in the throat that evening. The first course is then served to the group, memory, chicken thighs al pastor, smoked pineapple salsa, tortillas. They're all given small chicken thighs with tiny scissors sticking out of them, as well as plates made from tightly coiled telephone cords and tortilla bowls. The tortillas are all decorated with images. The tech brothers see a document that exposes them for fraud. They summon Elsa and inquire as to what they are. She says these are delicious tortillas that contain tax records and other documents showing how the company has hidden transactions with shell companies and performed various acts of intellectual theft. When asked how they obtained them, Elsa responds, "I'm sorry, but chef never reveals his recipes." The tech guy threatens to close the restaurant by morning. Elsa tells that won't be necessary. The movie star's tortillas are all the posters of a silly movie he did for money a long time ago, something like a bad Adam Sandler comedy. And sees photos of the two of them, such as one with a bandage on Richard's head after a melanoma was removed. Another contains a photograph of Richard on a date with a young female escort. He convinces her that it was photoshopped. Tyler's tortillas are images of him attempting to take photos of his meals in secret earlier that night. He is concerned that the chef is upset with him and wonders if he should apologize. Margot says, "They are the ones who should apologize, we're returning it." She tries to wave over a server, but Tyler snaps at her, telling her that you don't send things back there, you thank them for even letting her in. He makes a taco with the tortilla and raves about how delicious it is. He walks down the hall to a hallway with an ornate silver door. Elsa appears and asks if she needs assistance before she can enter. Margot says she's looking for the ladies' room and is directed there. Margot smokes a cigarette on top of a toilet while looking out a slab in the ladies' room. On the lawn, a pair of angel wings are being made. The chef walks into the bathroom and inquires about Margot's purpose for being on an island. He says you have no business being here. Margot returns to her table and informs Tyler that she wishes to leave. He explains that they can't because they're on an island and the boat has gone missing. Two servers unroll a tarp across the middle of the floor for the fourth course. It is adorned with baskets and sea fennel and edible flowers. The chef walks over to explain the next course, and a tech bro questions what is going on. The chef continues by introducing his sous chef, Jeremy, who created the following dish, the mess. Jeremy stands beside him as the chef explains that Jeremy graduated from a culinary institute and wrote a heartfelt letter expressing his desire to work at Hawthorne. Jeremy is talented and very good, but he is not and will never be great. Jeremy confirms that he is under pressure to please his chef. Even when everything is perfect, chef asks Jeremy, "Do you like your life, this life you've imagined?" Jeremy's response, "No." "Ladies and gentlemen, your fourth course," the chef says to the group. Jeremy pulls a pistol from his waistband and blows out his brains. Everyone begins to scream and panic. Elsa asks if anything is wrong as Richard gets up to leave. Richard informs her that he is leaving. Elsa says, "There is no boat to leave on." Richard says, "Then I'll call a helicopter." Elsa responds that will be difficult without phone service. Richard attempts to push his way past two servers wielding meat cleavers. He will handle this. Elsa asks, "Which hand will you handle it with? Is it your left or right?" When Richard does not respond, she says she will choose and instructs the servers to amputate Richard's left ring finger. And Elsa warns everyone in the room that if they try to leave, they will lose an appendage. The actor is furious at his assistant for bringing him there. Lillian Bloom and her husband both trying to convince themselves that it's not real. Elsa invites Margot to assist the chef in the kitchen. Tyler requests permission to attend but is denied. Chef tells Margot she's ruining his menu and wonders why she's there. He inquires whether she is with us or them. Chef responds that they all going to die that night. Then he hands her a timer set for 15 minutes to answer. She gets back to her table. The Tech brothers argue with the chef that Doug Varick is the owner and that it is not his restaurant. Chef affirms that since the restaurant has been his entire life, Doug Varick owns both it and the island, and as a result, he is owned by Doug Varick. But given that he already owns Doug Varick, things get complicated. A man, Doug Varick, wearing the angel wings we previously saw is illuminated through the glass window looking out onto the lawn. His hands are tied behind him, and he is supported by a pulley rope above the water. The chef notes that Doug had questioned his menu, and requested replacements. Doug is tossed into the water and left to perish slowly. The timer goes off for Margot. She is escorted back into Chef's office and questioned about her choice. She admits that she is an escort and that Tyler hired her to go on a date with him. For their subsequent lesson, the group is taken outside. The chef introduces them to Catherine, his sous chef, who will serve the following course. She says that 2 years ago, Chef Julian Slowick tried to assault her, but she turned down his attempts, and he kept her in the kitchen. Other male cooks advance to her position. Catherine argues that she is superior to all the male sous chefs. In the following course, humiliation, she will demonstrate what actual humiliation looks like. Using a tiny paring knife, Catherine stabs Chef Slowick in the thigh. And they hug. The blade was removed from his thigh. The group is informed that the men are going to be hunted and given 45 seconds to find cover. Some start to flee. Others soon after come. All of the male servers start searching for them in the woods at the 45-second mark. Tyler is rewarded with an additional dish for being the last man to be located, since he chose to hide in the smokehouse rather than flee through the woods. Tyler explains that he is attempting to eat at as many of the best restaurants in the world as he can. The chef explains that Tyler wasn't surprised by what happened that night because he knew beforehand that everyone would perish. He then mentions that Tyler said he's a great cook at home and extends an invitation for him to prepare the next meal. Once more with the timer set, Tyler is invited into the kitchen to prepare his own meal. Leeks and shallots are haphazardly chopped by Tyler, and the chef mocks him sarcastically by saying, "We must learn from Tyler, a new dicing method of which we have been woefully ignorant." Tyler requests butter to sauté them, and the chef makes fun of him by saying, "Leeks and shallots in butter. I'm here to witness a culinary revolution." After placing his order for lamb, Tyler changes the dish by adding carrots, capers, and other ingredients. Tyler is ashamed. He is led to the back, to chef's office, to be dealt with. The chef informs them that there is only one savory course left on the menu and that they must prepare for dessert. However, Elsa was careless and forgot to assign someone to bring in a barrel that was supposed to be in the corner. He instructs Margot to go to the smokehouse to retrieve the barrel, to prove once and for all which side she is on. The key to the smokehouse is given to Margot. On her way out, she notices Tyler, who is hanging by a noose and is dead in chef's office. Margot walks out onto the lawn and into the smokehouse. She quickly locates the barrel, but not before grabbing a scaling knife from the wall. The movie star inquires in the restaurant as to why he was chosen when all of the other guests are being punished. The chef claims he saw his film, the one about tortillas, on his one day off and didn't like it. Margot enters chef's cottage. She discovers that it is a replica of the restaurant's kitchen. There is also a silver door in this one. She approaches it, but it is locked. Elsa appears in the cottage and informs her that she is supposed to be concerned with the customers while the chef is concerned with the menu. Margot is making her job difficult. They have a massive brawl around the cottage, with Margot holding the knife she had stolen. Elsa is stabbed to death at the end. She tries to explain to Margot that she didn't take the barrel before because the chef never requested it. Margot takes the key from Elsa and enters the silver room, where she discovers a secret room filled with stacks of cookbooks and photos of the chef throughout his career, culminating with a newspaper photo of him flipping burgers at a local restaurant, seemingly happier than he is now. Margot spots a radio on the shelf and summons the Coast Guard. Margot returns to the restaurant, carrying the barrel. Chef tells her that the answer to her question is that he is a monster, but that everything he's done tonight is completely pure. He tells her he has chef's hands and extinguishes a flame on her candle with his hand, and we know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. A small boat arrives, and the Coast Guard makes his way to the restaurant. The chef orders that the dining room to be cleared. The staff works hard to conceal everything that happened that night and to clean everyone's faces to hide injuries. Chef Slowick informs the group that the man cannot assist them and that it is not worth the risk. It will only lead to the death of an innocent man. The Coast Guard informs the chef that there has been a disturbance. Nobody in the room speaks up when the chef denies it. The Coast Guard inquires if anyone sent in a distress signal over the shortwave, but Margot remains silent. He then recognizes the movie star and expresses his admiration. The actor is given a pen and paper, and he writes for the Coast Guard on it. The officer turns to leave, then turns around and points his gun at the chef. The room begins to beg for his help. Then the Coast Guard points his gun at Margot, specifically the candle on Margot's table that the chef had extinguished before. He lights the extinguished candle with the gun, which is actually lighter. The chef admits that he's one of them and then informs Margot that he has decided she is now an eater, a taker, an animal like the rest. The group is now informed that their final course will be chocolate poured on the floor. Margot declares that she dislikes chef's cooking. And she wishes to return it. Chef says that is sorry as he approaches her table. "What about my food doesn't appeal to you?" Margot says you've taken the fun out of eating. Every dish we've had tonight has been more of an intellectual exercise than something to sit and enjoy. She emphasizes that the food was not prepared with love. The chef is defensive, claiming that love is the most important ingredient in all of his dishes. Margot tells him that the hot dishes were cold and that there is no personality, only concepts. That his sole purpose as a chef is to serve people the food they will enjoy. And he let her down, bored her, and left her hungry. The chef inquires as to how hungry she is. And she tells him she's so hungry. He asks what she wants, and she says a cheeseburger, a traditional cheeseburger, not a fancy cheeseburger. The chef guarantees her the best cheeseburger she's ever had. She agrees that it's fantastic. However, she explains that her eyes are larger than her stomach and that the rest should be removed. The chef arranges a to-go bag for her. He expresses gratitude to Margot for dining at Hawthorne. She places $10 on the table and walks away. As a memento of the night, she is given a gift bag containing the menu for that night. And Margot is free to leave. Before the dessert is served, everyone in the restaurant is given the bill. Everyone pays the bill as usual, with Lillian charging it to the magazine for which she writes and Richard using his American Express. The movie star's assistant admits to stealing money from him, and they both apologize to each other. The chef informs everyone that they are on a no-tip system, so gratuity is not included. He informs them that their final dessert course is a twist on the traditional campfire favorite, the s'more. He claims it's the most boring dessert of all: cheap chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker. Outside, Margot approaches the Coast Guard's boat. She struggles to get it to turn on but eventually does and is able to cruise back to the dock from which she departed hours earlier. Everyone inside Hawthorne is on fire, and all of the staff and guests are dying. Final dessert course, s'more. Margot opens the to-go bag on the dock. She picks up the cheeseburger and starts eating it. She reaches in and pulls out a replica of the menu they had that night. She wipes her face with it as the restaurant on the island explodes in flames. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and comment below to support us.